If you can communicate in a way that ensures others can truly understand you.
If you walk away from an intense conversation and you solved it, but really didn't, like you walk away like you're like, I don't even know what just happened. That means that you guys were.
Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't.
How often do I see communication barriers?
Yes.
Oh, every single time. Like the only time I think maybe I did not see a communication was
If you can communicate in a way that ensures others can truly understand you. Now, have you ever felt like someone completely misunderstood your intentions, even though you thought you were being clear? Today, I have the honor of introducing to you my wife. She's a licensed mental health care clinician, and she's going to be helping us with this conversation today. Hey, Janice.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about communication styles. But first, before we dive in, why don't you let the people know some statistics about communication?
A study by the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers found that 65% of divorces are due to communication problems. And maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're just in a workplace. A study by the Holmes Report estimated that poor communication costs businesses an average of $62.4 million per year. Janice, there's a problem. And babe, I think they need some help.
Yes, no, for sure. So there's four main communication styles.
Mm-hmm.
There's a doer, supporter, analyzer, and promoter.
Okay. I
But
think I know which one I am.
oh, yes. But today we're going to speak about the doer. And that's who you are.
Oh. First, I was going to say I'm a promoter because, I like seeing other people do so well.
Well, we'll dive into the promoter in a little bit, but the doer, you're an excellent doer, I would say. I would say because doers have these strengths, right? And so they are very task oriented. All right. So doers often they prioritize task and outcomes over like discussions. So they want to get to the meat and potatoes,
Amen.
right? And then they're very direct and concise.
Sounds like me. Come on, somebody.
They're result focused. So they don't want the fluff. They're like if you come to them with a problem, they want to know what is the solution.
Come on, doers.
They do not care about the why, they care about the what.
Hold on now. I don't know if we don't care, but I'm with you. Hold it.
Okay. They have actionable language. So when they speak, they are definitely just action focused, very solution based. So you're not going to sit there and usually speak about like gossip or fluff.
Come
like
on,
they don't like that.
doers. Let's hold it down.
And then they're very efficient. So they value time. So one of the things that really gets them upset is if you waste their time. So they're very big on making sure that, hey, I don't do small talk. Like let's get to it.
Come on,
right?
I'm loving this already. Talk to me, Janice. Talk to me.
They also have challenges.
Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't.
So because their personality can come off very strong, they can be perceived as impersonal.
I just want to, can I pause right there for you?
Go ahead.
Now, when you say perceived, it's not that they are impersonal. They're just considered impersonal.
They can be considered blunt or detached because doers tend to be visionaries. So they tend to be able to see and when they see past, like they see in the future, like they see past, not future like psychic or anything, but like they're like, let's say there's a family goal of like buying a house or something. They're like, oh, okay, like this is what we got to do. We're about to grind. I'm about to this.
Yes.
I'm about to that. And so what they tend to do is they tend to want to move forward, but then in moving forward, because they move so fast, they tend to not necessarily take people with them at times.
Oh.
So what a doer has to do, because a doer is a great leader, it has to know how to take the people with them.
Okay, so there was this quote that we once heard.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
See, that's why you're my better half, man.
Yes.
Or my better whole.
Yes. And then also another challenge that doers have is that they tend to be seen. And I say seen because this is how it's perceived to other people that have different communication styles.
Okay.
So they tend to be seen as lack of emotional or sensitivity. And it's because they're more interested in the solution than the fluff, than the emotion, than feelings being hurt. Like they're like, hey, let's fix the problem and see how we can move forward.
Feel like this is a breath of fresh air for me right now. It's revelations coming, Janice. Talk to us.
And when a doer is very zealous, like very like they're all in, they can sometimes be inflexible. So because they see where they're supposed to go, or where the vision is supposed to go for the family or for the business or whatever the case may be. And so at times, instead of taking baby steps, they want to take a whole leap.
So we're ambitious.
Yes, there you go. They overlook details at times. That's why analyzers are very important for doers. They tend to resist collaboration if there is a person that lags. Like, you know how like some people, like it takes a lot to get them motivated.
Yes.
Doers are like, I don't have time for that.
Hey man. All right, let's can we just pause here parenthetically, because I believe at this point there's someone watching, hopefully someone's watching this. So there's someone watching, and maybe they can see themselves or someone else in the description that you just gave. But what does this look like in the context of a relationship? And then can we talk about what this looks like in the context of a workplace environment?
For sure. So like one of the things about a doer is that one of the challenges of a doer is that at a point in time, they can get burnout. And so that's why relationships are very important. Wow. That was the last challenge, was that they can get burnout. So, but when you're in a relationship and you know that your spouse or your partner is a doer, or like, you know, you're a doer, so then you know what you need is that you need collaboration. And so you need to collaborate with the right people. All right. I'm not saying to collaborate with other doers. Your actual communication style best match is a supporter.
Okay, wait. So let's take a couple steps back. So my communication style supposedly is a doer.
Yes.
And your communication style supposedly is a
supporter.
So we are a match, but there are times where we can miss each other horrifically.
Yes, I drive you nuts. So in the doer,
say that on film?
In the doer like communication style, they run the most, like, I guess you could say, challenges with the supporter, because the supporter is all about the why and the emotion and all that. But we'll get to that in another episode.
So you mean to tell me we could potentially get dicey on this episode?
We can, but we're going to stick to the positivity of the doers. So the doers have positive impact on relationships because they can encourage, they're efficient, they have clear decision making. So in a relationship, if you are married or dating a doer, like, you will know exactly what they want because they make it very clear. And then also for work, they are highly valued because when they're all in, they give their all, and they're very good at results. And so in the workplace, if you have a doer, I'm not talking about like the overachiever, like the kiss butt, like that's not what I'm talking about.
Jealous.
Like,
just so you know, I'm going to be your ultimate hype man today. Okay, I believe in what you're doing, Jess.
Yeah. So, but they're the person that's like, I don't need the recognition. I'm gonna do the job, but because they do the job so well, they're naturally going to get recognized.
Okay, so if us being in a relationship, let's just say we have a goal. Let's say we want to be completely debt free by the age of 40. And of course we have 3 kids, we have a mortgage, everything that we have, right? So we come together. How is it possible for us to miss each other when we're trying to sit there and align goals, because I'm a doer and you have the empathy on your side?
So, I'll just speak for myself. As a supporter, if someone is coming to me that matters to me, okay? Because
such as your husband.
Yes, such as my husband. So if someone doesn't matter to me like that, it won't bother me not one bit. But I learned that from the doer, right? So so the doer, in all honesty, he has given me tougher skin. Okay. And so I'm so thankful for him and his leadership, because if it wasn't for him, I would probably be crying 24/7.
Hey, can we just, I wish I had some sound effects right here, bigging up the doers in the relationship.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, but for supporters, many times it's tone. If the tone comes off wrong,
Uh-oh.
we're completely checked out. Like we're like, you know what? What the thing about supporters is they do not like confrontation. So the second you come off very passionate and clear, right? Doers come off very passionate, very clear, very direct, very assertive. Depending on the tone, the supporter is like, "Oh my gosh, this is a lot." So I'm just going to nod, but in reality, it's going in one ear out the other.
Okay, so is it that I just want to make sure because it goes back to that whole perceived thing versus reality. So if I come off as passionate about a subject and maybe my voice is a little
You're
heightened.
Caribbean, you yell
I
like
am from the Caribbean. Hey, big up Dominica in the house. Big up St. Croix. All the West Indies them. Hey, big up. Back to the American voice. All right, so if if we're here and I'm a little passionate, it doesn't mean that I'm actually yelling at you.
Correct.
It just means that I'm passionate about something, but you can reject me solely because my tone isn't in the zone that you would like it to be.
Yes, it's not in the zone that like typically supporters like to receive. So either the supporters really just wanting this conversation to be over, so they're going to bend to whatever you say, which then builds up resentment.
Animosity.
Yes.
Feel like you're not being heard.
Yes. And
Okay.
it would be like, "Oh, you're a bully." Like, you know,
that's not nice.
there's always something wrong. Like, how come there's always something wrong with me? Like, that's typically like the supporters from the outside in, if they're unhealthy, they can be seen as the victim all the time if they're unhealthy. But like if you have like healthy boundaries and you know yourself and you know your spouse is like, okay, this is where you communicate like, hey, like you're coming off a little too strong for me. Can we tone it down just a little bit, please? Thank you.
I like that. I like that.
But yeah.
All right. So now, husband and wife. If there's a husband and wife that feels like they're constantly missing each other, like, hey, I'm saying one thing, you affirm to me, yes, this is what I heard you say, to speak a listener exercise.
Yes.
But then you walk away and it feels like you just did not hear each other at all. What would you recommend for that couple?
So if you walk away from an intense conversation and you guys quote unquote like solved it but really didn't, like you walk away like you're like I don't even know what just happened, that means that you guys were emotionally tapped out. And so in reality, the information, you can hear it but you're not truly listening. Like you're not processing it. You're not like, oh, how could I have done better? Or I can understand his or her perspective. Like you're not putting yourself in each other's shoes. And when you put yourself in each other's shoes, then you walk away from the conversation like, oh, okay, I can see where we need areas of growth. So typically where couples make mistakes is that when they sit down, they talk, they don't just bring up one subject. They want to go and bring up like 50 bazillion. So then you go from you leave your shoes in front of the door to you leave your clothes next to the hamper to, you keep forgetting to pay the water bill. I'm just making this up. Like you go into a million one things. And it's like at the end of it, you're like, I don't even know how we got here.
Okay.
Stick to one thing at a time. And not only that, but also what is your goal before going into the conversation? Many times couples have no idea what their goal is before they go into the conversation. And that's where the problem lies.
Man, so I've been in ministry for over 20 years and I've worked for larger churches and smaller churches. And there's a lot of that have kind of come into my office with couples and these kind of disagreements. Now, you yourself being a mental health clinician, you also see couples come into your office and you've literally helped thousands of people kind of navigate through these various scenarios that we're talking about now. How often do you see that in relationships?
How often do I see communication barriers?
Yes.
Oh, every single time. Like the only time I think maybe I did not see a communication error or
Barrier?
barrier was grief, like when a couple had lost a child because they were just both in trauma. But like apart from that, like that particular instance that I'm speaking about, every single couple I have seen has to do with communication.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. And the inverse of who you are is what you need the most. So because I am a visionary, I'm a driver, I am a doer, I need you to be able to assist for the overall vision of what God has placed in my heart. So therefore, you are the legitimate idea of a complementarian. You are there
Yes.
with me to complement, and we're complementing each other
Correct.
to ensure we achieve what God has for us.
Yes. Yes. Because doers are very important to supporters too, because without doers, the supporters tend to get run over.
Oh,
Right.
you ain't running over my baby. I'll tell you
Right.
that right now.
Right. And so I think I know with you by my side, I have been able to face a lot of challenges, and I've had a lot of growth in the past few years because I've had to manage and put boundaries up. But doers help you put boundaries up because doers help you have
Jesus.
clear communication.
And I just want to stop and big up my wife for a little second there, all right? Because you've been by my side, I've been able to look at decisions that I've made or leadership principles that I'm doing in my workplace, and I've been able to have more empathy. I've been able to look at different scenarios and say, let me slow down instead of making sure we accomplish this vision. Let me make it about the person.
Yes.
And let's make sure that I slow down enough to where I can bring as many people with me.
Correct.
And I know you have helped me to care for people more. So I want to say thank you for that, James.
No, thank you. Thank you. No, and that's true because our motto is very much people over task.
Absolutely.
I'm very big on people over task, especially in ministry.
Okay. So now let's spice this up a bit because very few people actually have the opportunity to work full time in ministry, but majority of the people go into a job or work from home to where they have to deal with coworkers or a boss.
Right.
Now, how can this be helpful if you are in a corporate environment?
Knowing your
Communication style. Yes.
So knowing your own communication style or others?
Well, which one is more beneficial?
I think if you know yours and you know like your main counterparts is very important. So like the link that we're going to have below is a free link where you can get your basic communication style test. And so that will let you know if you're one of the main 4 communication styles. And so typically what I tell like managers or supervisors is like, hey, have a short test for your group, your small group to take, because it's important for you to know how people receive information and how people give information. So if I'm speaking to a doer, I know I need to be clear. If I'm speaking to a supporter, I know I need to tell them like the whole story, go around the block, give them details. They want to know
Help
the
me,
why.
Lord.
You know, if I'm speaking to a promoter, it's all about relationships, all of it. So you can give them facts, you can give them clear vision, but they want to know how are the people, how are the people going to be? And then the analysts, they want to know numbers. Is this going to make profit? Is this going to bring growth?
I love the analysts. Hey, if you're an analyst and you're watching this, I know one in particular. I love you. Okay. So if someone is working in a job and you are an employer and maybe there's some conflict in your organization, this may be a great tool for you to actually utilize to ensure that there is proper communication. One of the things that I studied in college was communication, organizational communication, ensuring there is a clear track from the very top all the way down your organizational pipeline. And what that ensures is your organization can grow because there's proper leadership and there's proper communication styles implemented at every single level. So I wholeheartedly believe that if you're in a workplace or even if you're in a relationship, this is something that you definitely want to do. Save the years of heartaches and arguments by taking this test and ensuring that you know the communication style of your partner and the communication style that you use more effectively. Now, Ms. Janice, if you can you provide us with a recap and let the people know what's coming up next?
Yes, so today we discussed one of the main communication styles, which was the doer. And so the doers are they're visionaries, they're task oriented, they're very clear in their communication. They don't like the fluff, they like the meat and potatoes. Their challenges tend to be burnout, they go really quickly, collaboration at times, but their main source of support is the supporters. So the supporter communication style is what really helps the doers and vice versa. So next week, we're going to speak about the supporters. So any supporters out there, or if you're married to a supporter, or if your friend is a supporter, go ahead and check us out next week.
All right, like, share, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the very next episode.